Hi guys, it's Nat here. Hope you're all doing well. I'm on with the second video for my Whichcraft Do You Do design team project for this month. I'm doing the frog journal, so I have my signatures that we put together last time. And I'm cutting them down now to make them even, which of course you don't have to do. Usually I don't. I'll just add some lace or a ruffle or something to the start signature page, and that sort of covers. It doesn't look so messy then. But I quite like them when they're uneven, but I thought for the sake of these processed videos that I will cut them down with you to show you how I do it. Now, with this signature, we've got a page that we will be folding over a bit. So I'm going to remove that page while I do this so that we don't cut off the bit that we want to fold over. Then I like to just make sure all my pages are in properly. You can use a ruler to push them down in the middle if you want. Push them down with my fingers. Make sure they're all together. Then I tend to just line the back of my signature up with one of the lines on my cutting board. And then get a nice heavy metal ruler is the best to do this, I find. And then I can line this up. The reason why I like to line it up against the lines is I can see if I've got things really crooked and cut them down a bit straighter, but no matter what I do, they're always crooked anyway. So now in doing this, I don't press too hard. I just give it a bit of a firm press while I do this, because a lot of the time if you have vintage pages or especially tea-dyed pages, the knife will pull on them and it will rip your pages and everything, and they end up horrible. So I like to go light and just aim at cutting 1 or 2 pages at a time here. I still tend to end up with a few uneven bits which I can just like trim off with my scissors afterwards. So I just repeat the process in cutting down until I've gone through all the layers. And now we've got evenish edges, but you can see with this page, because it's the even with that one, because it's a tea-dyed paper, it catches it and rips it sometimes. You can just trim them down with your scissors then if you want, or see, it's even caught it up there. That's what I mean about the tea-dyed pages. All the other ones are fine. So as I said, you can just trim them or add an edging, or not worry about it because you're doing a bit of a junky journal anyway. And then I must fold to this one to the length that we want. So that one's the right size. And which way do we want to fold this? We can either do it that way a bit, or we can do it that way a bit. Almost looks cool like that, doesn't it? I might do that. And then this will be a flip out like that. And now I can't even remember where it goes. Maybe there. This is the dilemma. I reckon it went there. That'll do for now. Make sure I've got them up the right way. Yep. So I could even, I won't cut more off. Oh yeah, I think that'll be, we'll see. We'll see how it goes when we're flicking through it. Because it's quite close there. Maybe I'll take it out just a little bit more. Like that. That's a bit better. So now we can start embellishing our pages a bit. First I have to get something to embellish them with, so I want to make a whole heap of pockets, and I've chosen some pictures here that I think would make some good tuck spots or pockets. Because they're out of magazines, some of them, and thin book pages, I thought that I would back them onto some scrap paper just to make them a little more sturdy. So I'm just using my Helmer fabric glue here. The fabric glue works really well with paper as well. Just sticking them down. So I keep finding frogs everywhere. It's funny when you start a project, every time you go anywhere you start seeing things pop out at you, so it's definitely going to have plenty of frogs in it. So the next thing I need to do is just rough cut my pictures out. And that makes it a bit easier to get my fine scissors to fussy cut them out. I put them up against my signature there just to remind myself how wide the pages are and how much of the picture I'll need. So I'm just using a ruler to try and decide which bit of the picture I can sacrifice for my pocket here. Just using my craft knife to cut down. And again, I use the mat underneath just to try and make sure that I get it straight. It's a bit of a shame to cut some of these. And I've got my little sewing scissors there. They're my favourites for fussy cutting. I think this is a great way to make some unique pockets rather than just doing the same old style of straight-edged pocket. It's another reason why you want to back them with something a bit sturdier. Must have been watching Netflix or something, hence the pauses. So I did a few like the one before. Now with this page part, I want to make a different style of pocket out of it. So again, I'm backing it onto some end book page just to make it a bit sturdier. I chose the end book page because we're going to see a bit of the inside of this pocket, so I wanted something vintage looking. Trimming it down to size. I don't tend to measure this sort of thing. I just go by the picture that I've found and try to figure out how to put it together. So I apologise that there aren't any specific measurements for it, but I like to just go with what I've got when it comes to book pictures and that. So on my scoreboard, I'm just scoring down on the left-hand side of the picture there where I want to fold it over. This will be able to be used as a floating pocket or stuck in a page. Just using my ruler to bend it over to get a good fold there. So you can see I've got a bit of an overhang on the right-hand side there, which I will be using to put it together. But I decide that I don't want that little top bit. So again, I grab my scoreboard just to score along where the overhang is so I can fold that over. And that will give me a little bit of extra room in the pocket to slip a nice chunky tag in. And because I've done that, I decide I want to put a little gusset piece down the bottom as well, also to give me that bit of extra room. So I've just got a scrap piece of paper there, which I'll be folding in half and sticking one side down. Now this is really messy the way I'm doing this, but it doesn't matter because we're not going to see it. So I'll stick the one side down to the inside of my pocket. And then I will glue the other edge with the side edge as well to put my pocket together afterwards. Now while it's open also I get my circle punch to stick a little thumb notch in the top. And then we'll glue those edges so that we can put our pocket together. So a quick easy way to make a pocket with a book page picture. Just check that nothing's stuck together where it shouldn't be. Now I have all these littler pictures that I found and I want to make some sort of specimen tags. I've got the Whichcraft Do You Do Specimen Tray Collection, set 1. And I also have some of their specimen labels from the Layered Mega Kit. It'll be linked below anyway. I know that's not the full name. Again, I've got some book page here that I want to back these onto to make them a bit thicker as well. I printed them out on my photo matte paper and it's a lovely paper, but it's not quite thick enough for some things. So I do like to back it onto other things to make it a bit more sturdy and to give it that sort of semi-vintage feel. I'm not aiming at a real vintage style journal with the frog journal, but I like using up the old book pages. So I stick them all down onto the backing paper and then I'm going to fussy cut one of them out. Do the easy one first. So you've got the front piece there with the window and then you get a backing piece for them as well, which is really cool. And all the different colours and styles of them are so nice. So then I need to cut my window out, so I use my little cutting mat and my craft knife. Those corners are the fiddly bits to try and get out. So now I want to ink around them with my black soot ink, so around the outside and the inside of the windows before I forget, like I usually do. I want to get the little corner bits in there as well, so initially I grab one of my brushes, but I don't really like that. It's not really getting in the corner and it's getting everywhere where I don't want it. So I tried on the matte, which does work better, but I'm still getting it where I don't want it. So I end up getting this little makeup sponge just to get the ink in the corners there. So I do that with all of my slide pieces. So now I want a bit of colour on the inside where the window goes, because it's a bit sort of white there. So I'm using my inks just to add a bit of colour there. I start off with my black soot, but then because there's a bit of brown on the left-hand one, I'll put a bit of brown on that and a bit of blue on the one that has sort of blue tones as well, just to add a bit more interest to the inside. That looks much better. And then I decide to just put a bit of ink onto my mat there and some water and use my fan brush just to drip some drips on there as well. I saw the lovely Cara Renee from Be Reborn Arts and Healing on YouTube using her fan brush, and thank you for the reminder. So I hadn't tried it with fan brush before and it works awesome. Nice little spray of drips. And then I'm just cleaning up with some of my other cards there to get a bit of colour on them. So I'm just going in with some brown now. Again, using my fan brush and flicking it on. And as you can see, it just adds a nice little spray. Cleaning it up again with another one of my cards to get some colour on there. So I've got my Field Notes stamp set from Tim Holtz, the most used stamp set in history, I'm sure. And I want to do a bit of stamping on the inside of my windows as well, just to add some interest. So I do go over all of my little specimen tags with different stamps before I stick my little specimens in. And I ended up choosing, it's the life cycle of the frog. Some of the pictures from that. So there I have some frog spawn. Just sticking that in. It fits nicely. Then I've got the little labels from the Mega Layering Kit. It's the one that says sample there, and then I've cut out the specimen ones and some of the number ones, but I ended up not using any of the number ones. I've got all of my scrap layering fabrics there, and I've just chosen a little bit of, it's a gauzy material, a bit like your crochet nylon, that I'm just going to tack down there to put under my little label. Just using my tacky glue to do all of this. And then again using my Field Notes stamps for a bit more stamping on the outside. I want to do a secondary stamping of this, or some people call it ghost stamping apparently. All the names that we find for these things makes them sound special, I suppose. I've got Kaisercraft set of stamps there, and I'm just using the coffee, I think it's like a spilt cup of coffee stamp. And they are the stones, they're called. And I'm just using some of the dots off of that to add some interest. And I think that looks so much better now. And I've got some tadpoles there. So I just repeat the process for all my tags of doing some stamping on the inside of most of them and stamping on the outside and adding one of the little labels. My glue keeps drying up in the little applicator part, but I've realised that the rubber tip for it has a hole in it, so I have to replace that, and that will stop that from happening. So again, I'll grab some layering fabric. I've got some tea-dyed cotton or linen there. I love the tacky glue for this because you can just dot it around a little bit and it holds it on really nicely without showing through. And put the label on. I just love the colour that the ladies at Whichcraft Do You Do have got on these specimen trays. Nice and grungy. And then putting the ink over the top just looks awesome. So now I've got to get my acetate for the window, so I'm using some transparencies here. Just putting them up against my slide so that I can see that they're going to fit okay. then once I cut the first one and double check that it is going to fit all right, I can use that to judge how long to cut the others. Then I use my tacky glue again just to go around the edge of the inside of the window there to stick my transparency down. And it's time to put it all together. So, oh yeah, I always forget to bring a nice soft cloth in to do that with, so I use my shirt just to make sure that there's no dust on the inside of the window before I stick it down. Just use my tacky glue all around to do that. So you can see there's a few overhanging edges there when you put it together, so you can just go around and trim them off carefully. And we've still got some white edges, so I get my black soot ink and go over them, and that covers them up nicely. So a recap on today's video, we did a whole heap of pockets. Well, you saw me do one pocket or two pockets, I think, tuck spots, whatever you want to call them. But I ended up backing a whole heap of stuff, and you can see it's on scrap paper that's been used, just recycling that to make these nice and sturdy, but they'll be stuck down so you won't be able to see that on the back. So I've got that one, cool tuck spots. And that one, this is going to be a top tuck. The corner's a bit raggedy, but I'll either chop it off or else I'll stick an embellishment over that. Oh, I found this on one page and this went across to the other page, and I cut that out. I thought that would be such a cool tuck spot with a bit of paper under his little hands. Have a bit of fun with it. And I thought this would make a really cool tuck spot somewhere else. This is going to a lovely young lady, so yeah. It's nice sometimes to have a bit of a sense of humour when you're doing this sort of thing. This one, which is quite wide, must be a toad, that. I'm sort of trying to stick to frogs, but these were just so cool I had to use them. Love this one too, out of a magazine. I think it was an advert for something or other. This is the pocket that we made. That could be a floating pocket. I could cover it with some paper to write on, but I'm just leaving it until I know where I'm putting it. So we can slip something in there. There's another one. So yeah, some of these magazine pictures, some are book pictures. That one I haven't backed, but that one, it will not be a tuck spot. That will probably just go on a page somewhere. So I didn't bother backing him, but I love him. And this one, a frog's fingers. I thought they could hold on to something. Yeah, not everyone's cup of tea, but hey. This one's just for embellishing as well. This one I've done for a tuck spot. This one's sort of, it's a cover, I think, of a book. So it's nice and sturdy, as is this. So far that's what I have made for pockets, which is a good amount to begin with, so we're doing well. Something to put on the pages, and then a few for embellishments. I've got a lot more though to use, and the square ones for journaling cards and that, so we're going to have heaps, but we do have to start getting it together. And then I made these awesome specimen tags with the Whichcraft Do You Do. Now, was it Specimen Tray? Yeah, Specimen Tray Kit 1. And I found the right name, the Layered Embellishment Mega Kit. I got the specimen labels from that. they had these as well. So, and the stamping. So here's this one. They're a little warped because of the wetness that I put on them, but they'll straighten out as they're put into pockets and that. They can be written on. It's got a bit of glue, I think, there. And then that one. And then the spawnlings. That's what I call my kids. So I love the way these turned out, and I love the little dot stamps that I did on them. I think they really brought it all together nicely. So that was great fun. So I hope you enjoyed that. I did think this month that it would be good just to casually go through and do a whole lot of the process with you guys. I'm usually not quite this organised. I usually sort of go page by page, but I had so much stuff to use that I thought that we could do some embellishments together, and then I can put some in the pages with you and maybe put it together at the end and see how we go and how quick the month goes. But I hope you're all well. Do take care of yourself. Check out the links below for the individual kits that I'm using and Whichcraft Do You Do's shop. There's also my code, which is NAT2023, and that will give you 15% off of any digital products at Whichcraft Do You Do. So if you want a couple of their digitals, make sure you go over and use that. And happy crafting, and I will see you again soon. Bye.